Hiya, folks. Back with another Yay or Nay segment. I know this one's not gaming related because these segments aren't always gaming related. That's why I'm always open to suggestions. And ironically, my last one was about Miiverse on the Switch. Well, Miiverse is actually shutting down in November, so that's kind of ironic that they announced it like a month after I did that video. Anyway, last year I did a Yay or Nay segment about video game remakes, and I did another one of movie remakes, so I thought, you know what, I'm going to do one for cartoons or TV shows or cartoon shows. Now, when it comes to, as I mentioned in like the movies one, I'm the same way with TV shows and stuff. I'm very stubborn when it comes to remakes. I mean, sometimes they can be okay. I mean, certain ones, it depends on what it is really. Like certain ones I'm just like, nope, but other ones I'll be like, yeah, I'll give it a chance. Like, for example, the It movie, the new It movie, that I really want to see, and I'm most likely going to do a video on it when I do see it. But for cartoons and TV shows and stuff, it's like, it depends. Like, I think it's, like I said, it all comes down to perspective. For example, the DuckTales reboot, I was watching an episode and I'm like, you know, this is actually not bad. I mean, the redesign is kind of a little weird, but the show itself is actually pretty good. And one thing was an episode, I think they were in like a temple or something, I forget, but a whole pile of snakes landed on Launchpad, and then because of the venomous bites and whatnot, he was like, you know, so it's like, okay, we got some slapstick humor there, that's good, because I feel like that's becoming, I feel like people, like, don't want to see that too much anymore, and by people I mean, like, overly protective parents that is like, nope, zero violence in cartoons, no, absolutely not, like, okay. I remember there was actually a Tiny Toon Adventures episode about that, where it's like, you know, they talk about, like, the difference of, you know, if a cartoon like that, you have somebody like an anvil falls on them and they'll be flat or an accordion shape, and then like 5 seconds later they're perfectly fine, like nothing ever happened. It's, you know, it's just a joke. Whereas you compare that to something like shows who are taken off the air due to their violent nature, like SWAT Cats and Mighty Max. It's like, oh, okay, I understand those type of shows are somewhat more darker, like if characters actually are killed or hurt, but is that really such a big deal? I mean, kids are going to find out about death eventually anyways, like when their pet dies or something. And I grew up with that type of stuff. Now, another remake... I got a hair in my mouth. Sorry. I was trimming my stash. The Ninja Turtles, that's something that... It's such a huge franchise that there's always going to be different takes on it. I mean, remember the 90s... late 90s live-action show, The Next Mutation or something like that. Now, the newer Ninja Turtles series, the CGI one, which is obviously it's meant for kids and stuff, but I actually kind of like it, to be honest. You know, it was like, I mean, when it first came out, I was like, yep, not watching this, but then one day I was like, I'll give it a chance. So I watched an episode on demand, then I watched another, and another, then everything got a little hazy. Kevin went to the foster family for a while. Family Guy? Anyway, well, whatever. You know, it's like, you know, so it's, like I said, it's really just perspective. Like, personally, I don't like it as much as the original from, like, the 80s and 90s, but it's like, you know, it's still good. Like, I mean, some of the characters look awesome. Like, Razar, for example, I think he looks better in that than he does in the original. One of the remakes that, or reboot, whatever you want to call it, that some of them I just don't get. Like, for example, is Looney Tunes, that Looney Tunes came out in, what, like the 40s or something like that? And it's that same cast of characters, or those same cartoons, have been around for decades, entertaining one generation after another. And it's just, like, so it's like, why remake it? Like, I don't get it. Like, I mean, my mom, for example, she grew up watching those cartoons. I grew up watching them in the 90s. Kids grew up in the 80s watching them, you know. I'm sure kids today would watch them, so why remake it? Like, and that's the funny thing, it's like, it's not too often, I do see kids today say that, like, you know, kids from, like, born in, like, 2000 and such, that say, like, they don't really, or 2004, you know, 12-year-olds or 8-year-olds that say, the cat's pushing the door open. Kids don't say that. Kids say that, like, they'll watch classic cartoons and say they like that better than the stuff that's on today. In fact, what the hell is her name? The woman who runs Cartoon Network. Somebody made a video about her, how she's basically ruining the site. And it's like, one person in the comment section made a really good point, because they said, well, let me get back to that person. First, there was one person, there was one of those, like, unoriginal trolls that was just copying and pasting the whole thing, that's saying, like, nope, cartoons are meant for kids. Nope, cartoons are for kids. Nope, cartoons are for kids. Oh, really? Because that's such an old thing that it's like, if that's true, then why do full-grown adults watch SpongeBob? You know how many of my colleagues are full-grown adults that watch SpongeBob? You know, people in, like, their 40s or 50s, they watch SpongeBob. It's a show for everyone, really. Cartoons are for everyone, not just for kids. And, getting back to that point, that other person in the comment section that made a really good point of that video was that they said that, Walt Disney once said, if you don't appeal to everyone, you're destined to fall, or something like that. And so then that comment probably got around like 400 to 600 likes, something like that, and then, people are all agreeing with this person, and then that unoriginal troll comment says, oh, then Walt Disney was wrong. Yeah, that's why Disney is such a big corporation. They own rights to, like, Marvel Comics and Star Wars, the Muppets. Yeah, he was wrong, alright. But yeah, so like I said, some remakes, they're okay. It comes down to reboots. I mean, I feel like it's nice to see that Slapstick is still around. I guess that's about it, everyone. So if you got any ideas for future yay or nay comments that you'd like me to talk about, let me know in the comment section below, and feel free to give me a thumbs up. If you're new to the channel, you can subscribe if you want, and thanks for watching. And be sure to come back next week for a new video.